Our next session is talking about CX meeting design thinking. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Jody, who is the VP of Transformation and Consulting from Majorel, to tell us a little bit more about it.
Great. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So what a great conference. I just would like to thank our friends at Unbabel for organizing this event. It's a great opportunity for all of us to come together in like minds, share best practices, share learnings, and I've already learned a lot this morning. I'd also like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about a topic that I'm extremely passionate about, and that's design thinking. I could talk about this topic all day, but I only have a few minutes, so I'm going to try to narrow it down to a few key points that hopefully you can take away with you. I think a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about in the beginning will reinforce some of the things that you heard earlier. And hopefully what design thinking will do is help us bridge that gap a bit between what we provide and what our customers need. So just by way of introduction, I lead the Transformation and Consulting Group for Majorel. I do want to spend just a minute introducing Majorel because a lot of you may not be familiar with our company. And the reason for that is we're a new organization. We just launched our company in February of this year, and it's actually a result of a joint venture between two large global CRM organizations. So many of you may be familiar with Arvado CRM. We joined forces with another CRM organization called Saham Group, and they have a large footprint in Middle East and Africa. And together, we formed a global customer service organization. We service over 500 clients. We have over 48,000 employees, so we're not a startup by any means. But it's a new beginning for us, and it's a very exciting time. We just recently partnered with Unbabel to offer our clients a multi-language solution. So very excited about that. Our mission is to provide an amazing customer experience for our clients and for our clients' customers. And we do that through a combination of people, technology, and data. One of our key strategic focus areas is, guess, digital transformation. So we're not alone. According to a recent study by IDG, 45% of customer experience companies have already shifted to a digital-first approach. An additional 35% more will within the next 12 months. So major shift to digital. Why? Well, because customers expect it. As we heard this morning, it allows us to drive agent productivity, cost savings, access to valuable data. But when that same study evaluated the primary drivers for shifting to digital, it was a bit surprising. The top driver for shifting to digital at 50% is to increase agent productivity. That's great, it's important. 30%, the primary driver, is access and visibility to data. Only 20% of customer experience, customer service companies are shifting to digital to meet customer expectations. Little surprising. So how are we doing? Are we hitting the mark? Well, let's explore that for just a minute, and I think we've heard a lot about this already. But I just read a recent publication by Forbes that published a lot of interesting statistics on customer experience and digital transformation. And I just wanted to highlight a few of them. 60% of companies think they're providing a good customer service experience, and only 22% of consumers agree. A little bit of a mismatch. 71% of consumers want a consistent experience across all channels, and only 29% actually say they get it. 33%, this is the most compelling to me, 33% of consumers who ended their relationship with a company last year did because the experience was not personalized enough. So how do we find that balance between that personal experience and the other drivers. What we often find is that the reason for this is when we do design products and services, we fail to put the customer at the core. And we end up with a design that's completely different than what our users are expecting or what our users are wanting. And this results in a misalignment. In fact, 40% of the customers, if you have to put a sign on it and tell your customers how not to use it, you might want to rethink your design. 40% of customer service companies actually don't even talk to their customers when they're designing a service. Interesting. So how do we bridge that gap? Well, here's where we get to the good stuff. So design thinking. A lot of you have probably heard about design thinking. It's been around a long time. Many of you probably apply this to your business in some form, if not a large way. It's been around since the 1950s. It was actually popularized by a company called IDEO, which is a design firm, in the 1980s. But it's been largely used for the development of products. But more and more companies are using design thinking in the development of services. And the reason for that is there are some key principles with design thinking that are particularly applicable to customer service. And I want to highlight just a few of them. There's a lot of information out on design thinking. You can read all about it. It's really interesting. I'm very passionate about it. But I just want to point out a couple of key principles. The first one is empathy. We've heard empathy mentioned obviously many times already. Empathy is at the core of design thinking. And empathy is the capacity to understand another person's feelings from their frame of reference. Very different than sympathy. It's really putting yourself in your customer's shoes. So I want to share a little life experience that hopefully will illustrate this a bit. When my son was in high school, he used to come home and complain about his teachers, about his homework, about the chaos in the hallways. I mean, you name it, he complained about it. And I tried to understand. It was like, okay, he's a teenager, he's going to complain about that. Well, the school brilliantly came up with an idea of trade places with your kid day at work. So I went to school for him, and he went to work for me. And I went through the whole process, wore his backpack, rode the bus, opened the locker, carried his books, navigated the hallways, interacted with other students, interacted with the teachers. I was really happy. I was one of the few of the parents that actually took them up on this opportunity. And I was happy I was one of the few because I actually got to interact with his students and the teachers. And it really, really made me understand what he goes through on a day-to-day basis. And from that point on, I had a completely different perspective. And when he would complain about school, I heard it very differently from that point on. So empathy is at the core. And if you think about it, as a service provider, we have a unique opportunity to bring empathy in everything that we do in our day-to-day business. We have over 48,000 employees in our company, and many of which are customer service agents working on behalf of our clients. Our customer service agents interact with their customers every day. They have a pulse into what their customers are saying, what their customers are feeling. What a great way to harness that information, more of the softer information, bringing empathy into it, combine that with the quantitative data, such as sentiment analysis and our analytics, to really bring value to that client. The next principle I want to talk about is empathy mapping. So many of you are familiar with customer journey mapping. You probably do that. It's when you map out the process, identify touch points, pain points with your customer, and use that to help solve problems or address issues. Empathy mapping brings a completely different dimension to this. So it takes the customer mapping and it brings the empathy in. Customer journey mapping brings the empathy into it. So rather than hearing what our customers are saying and doing, we actually get past that and understand what our customers are feeling and what they're thinking through that journey. So it's asking the whys. It's really getting down to the root of what the need is for the client. And getting past the stated need to the real need. And there's a big difference. So I want to illustrate that with another life experience. My sister was recently diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And she's in the early stages. So it's not debilitating. She can lead somewhat of a normal life, pretty much a normal life. She can walk. But for those of you that are familiar with multiple sclerosis, it can be extremely unpredictable. She can wake up one morning and just not be able to walk. No warning, nothing. Well, we went on a trip just recently, and it was our last day of the trip. Everything went well. She was fine. She was mobile. Everything went well. And the very last day of the trip, the day we were catching our airplane, our flight home, she couldn't walk. So we're in the hotel room. She's in bed. She can't walk. Her legs will collapse under her. So I'm a problem solver. So the first thing I think about is, well, once we get to the airport, we'll be fine because we can get a wheelchair at the airport. But how am I going to get her from where she is now to the car? She can't walk. I certainly can't carry her. So I thought, oh, I need a wheelchair. So I go down to the hotel desk and I ask them, is there any way I can get a wheelchair? And they're like, we don't have any, but you might want to call around to a pharmacy or a department store. You might be able to get, rent one for an hour. So I'm calling around frantically trying to find a wheelchair. No luck. So I go back to the hotel desk and I'm panicking at this point. And I said, is there, I really need to get my sister to the car. Is there anything that you could do to help me get a wheelchair? And he said, well, tell me what you need it for. Can you help me understand what the situation is? And I told him, I said, I just need to get her there. And he said, he looked around and there was a luggage cart sitting right next to him. He said, would that work? It's got wheels. And I thought, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. So long story short, I got her to the car, got her to the airport, everything was fine, we got home. But the point is the stated need was I need a wheelchair. The real need is I need to get my sister from point A to point B without walking. Those are very different statements. So getting down to the real need versus the stated need can be a very powerful tool. And it opens the door to possibilities of innovative ideas that you hadn't thought about before. The last principle I'd like to talk about is prototyping. So design thinking is extremely agile. It's a very iterative approach. And it's important because by prototyping and testing our service or our product early, it allows us to understand if we're meeting the customer expectations. So rather than investing a great deal of time and money, how often do we develop a product or a service and we're well into it, we find out it didn't quite hit the mark. So we bring our customers on that journey with us. We have an innovation lab that we use in Germany where we actually have an environment where we bring our customers in. We do joint workshops, we do the brainstorming, we do the customer journey mapping, and we also have a simulated product and service that they can test. So they actually can interact with the service, with the solution, real time. We can observe the interaction, we can observe the emotions during the interaction, and fine-tune it, change it so that it meets the needs of the customer. Very powerful. So empathy mapping, and prototyping, key principles in design thinking. So in summary, design thinking is not just a methodology, it's really a mindset. And our goal is to embed design thinking into the culture of our organization. Our goal is to have all of our customer service agents go through design thinking training. And it can be done actually very easily. So we do these innovation in an hour sessions where you take time out, you go through the whole design process using a simulated product or service that you're developing, and you learn the principles. And then one thing that we've done recently is we started doing hackathons. So we put them through the design thinking training, then we do hackathons where they can actually use the principles to solve everyday problems, working with their colleagues, working with customers. So very powerful and definitely something that I would highly recommend, especially in the customer service agent industry. Thank you.